I just replayed the Henry Stickmin collection, and honestly, I've never truly played a game quite like this, but I am so glad that it exists. It's another instance of Flash games being preserved, and in some cases even updated. You can find other instances like this with like the Basement Collection, the Ninja Kiwi Vault, or even that Flashpoint, I think it was called, service, which has just been archiving every Flash game ever made. This one, as far as I know, comes with some updates visually. I haven't played the original, so I couldn't really tell you on that one. But basically takes all the Henry Stickmin games, including a final chapter, and puts it all together into one big experience. So, how does the game work? And I feel like I need to bring this up because it's really what sets Henry Stickmin apart. The interaction in Henry Stickmin largely boils down to what choice you make and seeing if it works or not. There's not really any deeper gameplay than that, apart from maybe the occasional QuickTime event, but the charm lies in the outcomes. The game starts off simple with episode 1, but as you go from episode 1 to the final episode, each one gets more and more complex. To the point where there are so many endings in the final game that I'm still getting them right now, as I'm trying to 100% the game. And the main charm is, of course, the fail scenes. If you've never seen Henry Stickmin, that's where a lot of the charm comes from, is just digging around the game and seeing all the little references and jokes that are littered throughout the experience. If you're like me and you just need to get some footage for a secondary game review channel, then you can play through the game in like half an hour. But if you're like me in my usual time and you want to comb through the game and get all the different endings and fail scenes, you're going to end up spending a couple hours on the experience. Just because each game subsequently has more and more to explore and tinker with. Of course, your mileage with this is going to vary depending on if the sense of humour of the game is really to your tastes. Personally for me, I do find the game quite funny, because there is no real through line. You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes the most logical option works out, sometimes it's a completely insane option that'll get you through to the end. And it seems like there's not even any real consistent logic. Like, you can turn into a liquid and that's a game over, but you turn into paper and hey, look, that suddenly works for some reason. And because the fail scenes are part of the charm, it doesn't really feel bad when you lose because you know that it's going to likely end in something funny. For instance, in the gameplay footage I recorded, I ended up 360 no-scoping Ellie, and the game even gave me a chance to give an MLG montage parody to it. A little outdated, sure, but given its Flash game origins, I find it oddly charming. And the game is full of moments like this. It's why I want to 100% it, because I'm still combing through and getting all these little details and extra jokes. A lot of the characters as well have their own little charms. They're not particularly deep or complex, but you do find yourself getting attached to the main trio of Henry, Ellie, and Charles. I know the internet lost their minds on one of the endings. The story itself kind of develops as you're playing through, starting off with you just wanting to rob a bank, to you trying to escape prison, steal a diamond, interact with the Top Hat clan after being taken by the government. And really, I could go on, but from there, what you end up doing really can diverge quite heavily, to the point where when you are loading up completing the mission, you have to pick out what your endings were, because there's so many different combinations that can result from just that alone. If you busted out of the prison with Ellie and also, stole from the Top Hat clan, you'll get a wildly different ending than if you worked with the government and left Ellie behind, for instance. I wish I could go on a little bit more, but there's not really a whole lot more to the game. It's extremely simple. Like I said, it's basically just a bunch of menus where you try to pick the correct option and laugh when you don't. It's really as simple as that. My recommendation would be to check out some gameplay on YouTube. Have a look at some of the jokes that the game has to offer and see if the game seems like something you find funny. If so, then absolutely get this game. I think it's an absolute blast. I really cannot recommend it enough, personally. Personally, I've beaten the game several times over, and I'm going to end up beating it several more times over, so yeah, without a doubt, go and check it out.